late 1864, just on the Kansas side of the bitter Kansas-Missouri line. There's a Civil War battle that I'd never heard of before. The Union cavalry was outnumbered 3-1, but they charged anyway, and 200 yards out, they froze. Hi, I'm Appy from iCode Happy. I'm a website and data advisor, and what am I doing telling you this story that has nothing to do with websites? It's a story that has inspired me over the last few weeks, so I'm sharing it with you. As small business owners, we aren't just collections of our expertise, we're also humans that need inspiration. So the South had lost in the North, they'd lost in the East. The West is their last hope, and it hasn't been going well. 7,500 cavalry troops, they're backed up against Mine Creek. The Union cavalry, they have 2,500 men. There's been a running series of engagements all across the state of Missouri and now partway down the Kansas-Missouri line. This particular day, the Union cavalry is approaching. The Southern lines are backed against the creek, but as the Union troops get closer, the Confederates don't scatter. They hold their line. And so the Union, they just stop 200 yards out and they freeze. The commander is riding up and down the lines, screaming at his troops, saber drawn and waving, trying to get his troops to continue their attack, and nothing. Seconds tick by, minutes. They're frozen. But the unit behind the one that was frozen in the front was an Iowa cavalry unit with a commander named Abiel Pierce. He's watching the scene in front of him, and finally he gives the order. Go around, on the left. His men charge, they get in front, they continue the attack, everybody else falls in place. They hit the Southern lines full force. The Confederates scatter. It ends the Southern hopes in the West, and who knows what would have happened if that day had turned out differently. So I've been asking myself, what makes one person go forward when everybody else is frozen? There's no comparison between these life and death decisions of a war and the tiny decisions that I make in my business. But here's something that is true. Freezing is real. Being paralyzed by all the possibilities, all the information, all the advice is real. It's scary out there, from algorithm shifts to AI, buyer behavior changing. I feel intimidated all the time. But the Union had advantages that they could have forgotten about. They had the high ground. They had superior weapons. They were on their home turf. And they had someone who was willing to take that one step when everybody else was frozen. We have advantages too. We have skills, we have experience that AI can't replicate. We have the ability to relate and be present as humans. And sometimes all it takes is one decision, one step, one person encouraging us. So the part of us that freezes, it doesn't have to be the whole story. Sometimes we can go around it. So with New Year's reflections, it's easy to focus on the things that we still need to overcome, the challenges that we're still experiencing that we didn't get a handle on last year. I have some of those myself. But don't forget your high ground. And if you need somebody to say, take that one step, you can do it, let me be that voice to say, you got this. I don't know if you're curious like I am, but I got to wondering, who was Abiel Pierce? What was it that made him take that step that day? And I don't know the answer to that question, but I had fun finding a few more pieces of the puzzle. His great-grandfather was a captain in the American Revolution. He was born and raised in Maine, visited California before he moved with his family to Iowa. His family's history in this country goes back all the way to the 1600s, to some of the first people that came to the colonies in New England. So was his rich history in this country part of what caused him to take that step that day? He was also a widower. He had just lost his wife within the last couple of days. He had a daughter at home that was being raised by family members. He was dealing with grief, with a country torn apart, and with uncertainty. But when the situation called for it, he was still able to give that order. Go around, on the left. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again. And if you'd like to see more stories, let me know in the comments.